Hi, can everyone hear me okay? I'm using my son's computer, so I just want to make sure that the audio is working.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great, thanks, Candace. Hey, Candace, Devaya, Marlene. Welcome, welcome. So good to see you. So we're going to be exploring the terrain we're exploring today is sort of, well, not sort of, it's definitely inspired by our talk last week. And so it's mending the mother wound. And yeah, this is juicy. This is good stuff that we're going to dive into. So yeah, let's just take a moment to settle in. I'm just kind of letting some folks in here. And maybe closing eyes or keeping them open with a soft gaze. And just taking a deep breath in, letting yourself really arrive here in your body. And then as you exhale, just sense yourself maybe allowing like 5 or 10% more ease. You might lift your heart and take a moment to, put your fingers on the pulse of your truth in this moment. And it's like, what are you feeling? What's your energy like? How's your mental landscape? Does the mind seem to be preoccupied? And then also noticing, what's the inner relationship? And these are all just inquiries, meaning no need to know the answer. Just allowing the question to open something up for you. Noticing what it does open up. And then from there, noticing what your intention is, what it is that you're most wanting or needing to feel or receive. And may our time together serve to, nurture and support your awakening for your benefit and the benefit of all. And as we flutter the eyes open, the invitation is to, be in your body. And then we'll look around the space to orient. And we do this for the nervous system. I mean, I think if we're not including our bodies and our nervous systems, we're really missing out on an essential aspect of what it means to be alive and awake as a human. So welcome once again, CJ and Michelle. Glad you can make it. And here's my cat. Hi, Meta Boo. Say hi. Hi. Meta Boo gets to be in the space, probably because Phoenix is in another space. Hi, pretty kitty. There's I want to come back to I think this piece of being in the body and how important it is, but also how overlooked it is. And so especially when we're opening up this conversation, around, say, today's topic, the mother wound, It's so easy to get caught in intellectualization, which is fine, but our intellect can just be one aspect of our experience. And that's what mindfulness, embodied mindfulness, gives us, opens us up to. And we realize that inside these bodies are, so just, just as a reminder, we'll start with the top. And then about halfway through, we'll go into our sit. We will go until a little before 10 a.m. PT. Really great if you can stay for the whole time. And as you're here, really give yourself fully to being here, not just for you, but realizing that you matter enough that you being distracted affects everyone. So yeah, anyway, especially distracted, like on your phone, looking at messages. It's so hard not to do, I get that. But refrain. So welcome. This aspect, today's Dharma talk of mending the mother wound, I think when I'm talking about the mother, I'm talking more archetypically. I was working with a client the other day, and this was tough. Part of his work is really in connecting to what we're going to be talking about today, which is the mother. We can think of the divine mother, the divine feminine. We can think of yin energy. It doesn't have to all be dogmatic or religious or anything like that. It's, it can be nature. I'm going to talk more about the energy of the mother as we move on. But I was working with a client, and so much of his healing is around and I want to slow down as I say this, because there's pieces probably in this for all of us to hear. It's in his reckoning his relationship with his own mother, right? And grieving the ways that she fell short. And then allowing his needs to be met. Because these needs are very much alive in us, yes? It doesn't matter how old we are, we all need our mama. And what we usually come to realize, which is part of what he's realizing, is that it's his mama can't do it all the time. And actually with this particular person, really hardly ever. And so healing, mending this wound, it has to do with grieving the places we were missed, because we all were, because our moms are human, and so it's like I know when I started doing this work, I really got to love my mother better. My mom's still alive, and she's in her 60s, and she's got lots of energy, and she's such a great grandma, and she's so funny, she's so quirky. I get to really love her as she is. I mean, I'm not perfect, but there was a time when, I just wanted her to be the mother to me. And when I really understood that she had limitations, and that this need that I had, and the need that you have for the mother, this need for nurturing, this need for compassion, this need for wisdom and acceptance, this need for forgiveness, all of this is wholesome and never leaves us. And there's almost our own parents kind of let us down. Hopefully that disappointment at some point takes us deeper in the journey to meeting this need in the way that it can actually be met. So I mentioned in the email, like looking for love in all the wrong places, because the problem when we get to like say, yeah, and this is hard. This can be really hard. But yes, I'm needy. We get to be like, I am needy. Like I am 47 years old and I am needy. Like I still need my mama. I mean, I'm needy in the ways that I have needs. And when I'm really honest with myself, those needs, if they're not being met, or there's not a way in which I'm acknowledging, sometimes not all needs can be met like the moment we have them or recognize them, you know what I mean? Like, and so even just acknowledging the need is like 99% of it. There's something that mends the heart in just acknowledging the need. And so many of us, our work around, not our work, but our finding fidelity with our own hearts. Ouch. The cat just climbed up on my lap and her claws came out. But the work of, finding fidelity with our own hearts. It's not even the work. It's not even a journey. It's like a moment by moment practice. It's like there's something that's so, and this is just in the acknowledging. So when I say fidelity with our hearts, I'm just saying I'm honest with myself about, whatever need it is that I'm having. And sometimes it's just like the need to be authentically expressed. So in a moment, it could just be me being like, I'm so happy right now. This is so fun. Or I'm really anxious right now, or I'm sad right now. That's what I mean by fidelity with your own heart. And we don't have to get so hung up on getting that need met. Because what we notice is that just in acknowledging the longing, which this is what the mother helps us do. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But the acknowledging of the longing is like a bridge, and it bridges the gap from longing to belonging, like this is why you're here. This is why it matters to connect to the love that never leaves you. I mean, wasn't that awesome thought? It's like, wow, the love that never leaves me. I don't even earn it because, like, do you earn a mother's love? No, you don't. I was watching, oh gosh, you guys, I watch some really bad TV. So I'm going to come clean for a second. I was watching this show called, is it called The First? No, it's about women who are looking for love again and they've been married before. It's a reality show, and what struck me when I was watching this, and what strikes me when I watch all reality shows, or I look at Instagram, or I see anything and that's like kind of happening in the social media arena, but also this, anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's this constant judgment and evaluation. I mean, these women, this is what they signed up for, right? But the coach is just like, and he's really actually good at giving feedback. But I'm like, man, this like kind of way of being looked at under a microscope is something that's really hard to tolerate or bear with any amount of equanimity or balance if we don't get like deep in our bones that we are loved. You know what I mean? And for a lot of us, this getting deep down in our bones that we are loved, and it's not a conceptual thing, it's not something that you can have all the time. but it's something that is available to all of us. And so you can have confidence in this. You can really have confidence in this. I wanted to talk in terms of the 3 points about, we have, archetypically this represented across religion. I think of Buddhism and Tara and Kuan. And I don't know, Tara has 21 different aspects. I'm in no way know much about any of that, but I think that's interesting. She has 21 different aspects. And meaning and it's not something even in Buddhism that I knew much about. I just learned that as I was exploring this topic to prepare for teaching today. And I thought, wow, we just haven't really, we've been so disconnected, right? And not just all of us from the feminine and from this mother, sacred mother, divine mother that I'm speaking to. But we have that in Buddhism. We have Mother Mary. I have a painting on my altar. In Catholicism, archetypes, and in other. I'm talking to 2 of the religions that I have experience with, but all kinds. In the Hindu, right? There's all these female, goddesses, and so I think part of mending the mother wound for us is really around familiarity, intimacy, relationship with aspects of her. And I want to mention this too, when we're acknowledging and aware and meeting the needs here of all humans, we all have for our mama, for the mama. When we're meeting those needs, it does tend to, improve relationships in the way that we take others off the hook, so to speak, right? Because looking for love in all the wrong places can mean there was a time when my husband was having a bad day and his energy was in, it really felt like a betrayal of if not more than a betrayal, it felt like an abandonment. That's, codependency. That was in the early stages of our relationship. And so thanks to really good couples work and things like that, I was able to wow, oh my gosh, I got some stuff here. And so, working with my teacher and doing some things to help me and just connect to the mother, like painting, for example. It's just it didn't feel like abandonment when my husband had a bad day anymore, because I wasn't unconsciously looking to him to be there for me, so to speak. I hope this makes sense. All right. Is this landing so far before I move on? Okay, I got the heart. Is this, okay. All right. Let's unpack some aspects of the mother. Intuitive, heart-centered, compassionate, wise, accepting, forgiving, reflective, collaborative. Yeah, so it's, it's we all can sense into these qualities in ourselves. We can all sense how nice it is to be in that space, to be in that energy. I used to have this is also, awareness of this paved the way for one of my favorite guided meditations for myself when I'm feeling like I need my mama. And you know that feeling, you know what I mean? Like it happens, I don't know, it happens for me often when, you know, I get a big blow or I'm sick, I don't feel good. I would visualize myself walking through a forest and coming to a cottage, and I would walk in the cottage and there was this very, you know, grandmotherly like woman that lived there, right? Long gray flowing hair, and she would make me tea and soup. I would lay on her couch and she'd put a blanket over me, and there'd always be a fire in the fireplace, right? And I could stay there as long as I wanted. And it didn't matter what had happened or what I'd done or didn't do, or she just was always there no matter what, right? Like no matter what. And she lives in my heart now. I don't find myself having that visualization as much anymore, but we can do that for ourselves. So this comes to number two. Number one were the aspects. So number two, this is from caretaking to taking care. Okay, because one of the things that can happen is we can become caretakers. We don't meet our own needs. Instead, we get focused out and we figure if we can meet other people's needs and take care of them good and make them happy, then we're often unaware of this, right? We don't realize we're doing it so they can be there for us. But that's the unconscious need of the part of us that wants to be cared for and taken care of. And so rather than caretaking, we come back to taking care of ourselves. Simple stuff, right? I know this is so basic, but this is mama. My daughter was leaving to go to a meeting today. I'm like, do you have your A, B, C, D, E? You know, like I'm thinking, do you have this? Do you have that? Or you got everything you need? Mom, you already asked me that. I'm like, okay. Have you had enough to eat? Have you had, you know, how's that? You know, have you had enough sleep? Have you had enough movement? Have you had enough rest? Are you having a creative outlet of some kind in your life? And are you resting? Are you relaxing? Not sleeping, but taking time to rest. Sometimes, like, I like to go to bed, and I'll go to bed sometimes even an hour before I fall asleep, just so I can lay in my bed in the dark with like quiet and rest, right? And I'm just resting. That's important. And you can, you know, whether it be a yoga, there's so many different little ways we can come to yin yoga, right? Because my classes are starting back up again soon. The evolution movement, Marlene. So yin is very much, you know, like that's a very restful practice. So that's just some things we can, you know, be like, oh yeah, one of my first therapists, I'll never forget her. And she was like, are you eating enough? Are you sleeping enough? You know, like, and I was young, right, at that time. So I felt like I was being mothered. Yay, it's a good feeling. And so we get to mother ourselves. And then, you know, we can also let ourselves be mothered. You know, sometimes my husband will bring me things because I don't want to get off the couch or something like that, you know, but I'll let him do it, you know, and in a way it's like I'm letting myself be mothered. You can let yourself be given to and cared for. It's not about fixing other people. I tried that, doesn't work, never. Doesn't work. I even had my husband drinking like chai tea at one time. He doesn't drink chai tea, he doesn't like tea, he doesn't like coffee, he likes Coke, Coca-Cola. You know, that's just my husband, right? Like I can just let him be him. He doesn't need to be like this spiritually obsessed person like me. You know what I mean? He can be himself. Like, I wouldn't even want him to be like that anyway. It'd be really annoying. Can you imagine? I don't. As one of my mentors tells me, you know, she's like, Karina, he'd drive you crazy if he were like you. And I'm like, you're so right. So the last piece I wanted to mention here was, now what do we do? Okay, because this need to help, not help others, but when someone we love, when we want well for somebody that we love, that's really wholesome longing. You know, this could be for our kids, this could be for our friends, this could be for somebody in your life who's struggling, who you tend to caretake for. Because it's like, what's something that we can, you know, what's something that works? We want to address the longing for those that we love to be well. That's really important. If someone that I love is struggling, you know, or sick, it really, if anything I can do, right? It's like the longing in my heart is like anything I can do without caretaking. So I wanted to share some phrases. So often, you know, we work with phrases, right, in our metta practice. And one of the things, this is being recorded too, so you can, you know, play it back to get these phrases again. This is from Jack Cornfield. So you can look this up on his website as well. So equanimity as a practice is so good for us folks who tend to caretake and like, you know, worry about other people. Instead of that, do this. Do what you can, right? And this is something that you can do that's not going to harm you, you know, or them, right? Because I always say, like, who are we to rob others of their pain or their process? We should believe in people more than that, you know. Your happiness and suffering depend on your thoughts and actions and not my wishes for you. Your happiness and suffering depend on your thoughts and actions and not on my wishes for you. May you learn to see the arising and passing of all things with equanimity and balance. May you be balanced and peaceful. So you can just, like, you know, I'll often just really tune into, like, what are my deep wishes for this person? Yeah, may you be happy. Yeah, may you be free. May you be free from this addiction. May you be healthy. May you find peace. And so this is an example of, you know, and sometimes if there's really someone in, you know, if there's someone in my life that I'm concerned about, when I notice myself starting to worry, you know, I'll pivot, like, you know, I'll bring the attention from the worry into these phrases. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to mention about that. Okay. Any, so let me read some of the chat. Guilty of caretaking. I consider myself a recovering codependent. Right, it does not work. Anna, that totally makes, okay, good. Wow, that is liberating. Sweet. Okay, so I hope that was of value, the talk, and those three aspects. May it instill whatever we need in us to just have confidence in ourselves and to do this practice. And the practice really begins with self-connection. Yeah, and there's nothing better than meditation to connect us to what's true for us. So we're going to pivot to that practice. Before we do that, just a little reminder that these are freely offered, and your donations really do make a difference. And so you can PayPal or Venmo or Zelle me. Yeah, and then do share this. Share this with others. So as many people can be touched by this as possible who need it. Imagine there's a lot of folks who could have used this talk today. Like, ooh, right? It's like, when we're really in this kind of space, it's just, we become more and more sensitive to doing harm. And we become more and more motivated not to do harm. And that's a world worth living in. And so, yeah, like, as many people who can explore these teachings, the better. So, who are open to it, of course. Let's go ahead and let's sit together. Find your comfortable seat. If you're in a chair like I am, I encourage you to put your feet on the floor, not crossed legs. And then let your back be straight apart from the back of the chair. And now if your back is sore or whatever, like, please take care of that. There's no shame in using the back of your chair. But if your back is healthy, just exploring what it's like to sense the strength and integrity of your spine. Soften your shoulders. Soften your face. Soften your belly. Notice what it feels like to deepen the next inhale. And if it feels good, you might just, do a few more of those. Just letting the breath resume its natural rhythm now. One of the ways that we can come home is by sensing refuge. The past and the future provide no refuge. The simplicity of now, let yourself be restored a bit here, just now. No need to manage or control anything. No need to sort the million things right and the million things wrong. It's all part of now, and you can let yourself rest in it. And sensing all of the ways like you're supported, we are supported now. We're all supported by gravity and the feeling of the ground. Spend a few moments just becoming intimate with the very fact that you are supported by the ground. You're held, literally, not flying off the ground. You're held. It's holding you. This holding is forgiving. Like it doesn't hold anything against you. It's there whether you remember it or not. And the most tired and tender parts, the parts that we have a hard time forgiving or can't forgive, those are held too, especially those. You can scan your body and relax if there's any gripping. You don't need to control your inner world at all. We have pleasant experience and unpleasant experience and neutral experience. None of it's wrong and none of it's right. Even though sometimes it feels wrong or it feels right. Sensing it all belongs. If pleasant experience arises, it's like acknowledging pleasant. If unpleasant arises, acknowledging unpleasant and letting there be an element of kindness. Noticing also the more neutral experience of sound, of sensation. And some thoughts too are quite neutral. Maybe this holding has arms. Maybe there's a beingness and aliveness to being that feels caring. We'll bring a hand to our hearts. Just taking a moment to notice how it feels to place your hand on your heart right now, even though you've done this before. What's it like now? Maybe a little pressure would feel good, or not. And taking a moment to acknowledge your goodness. Coming here to be together, to open your heart to these teachings, to practice. This is like a radical act of goodness. We'll close our sit with our metta chant. We'll chant for I, we'll chant for you, and we'll chant for we. There may be a particular person you want to chant for today. That would be the you. And then we is for all beings everywhere. There's a sense that we are dedicating the merit of our practice to all beings everywhere. Deep breath in. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. And we'll let our eyes open.
This meditation really hit home because I losing my mom at a young age. I'm always wanting that love and to be held, and especially now because with COVID, like the world that is out there is like separation, um no, like no closeness. So actually to be here in this group or this meditation is my home, it's my house. I love it.
Thank you, Candace. That warms my heart. Thank you. I'd love to hear too, if you want to put in the chat, what's a takeaway from our Dharma talk or our sit. Yeah. Not sure what happened, but my phone disconnected in the middle of meditation, Michelle. Yeah, no worries. Oh, the third point. Yeah, loving the feeling of the ground holding me. Great visualizations. Blessing to you, Candace. Yeah, from Michelle. The third point was, Marlene, was the practice of metta for the other, right? So the desire we have for the folks we love to be happy and healthy is really wholesome and good. Our heart should be moved by, is moved by the suffering or the joy of others, right? This is like all of it. Sometimes though, rather than caretaking, especially, or worrying, right? It's like the desire you might have for someone to be happy or healthy, we can channel that into saying metta phrases for them, right? Yeah, I do it for my kids a lot. There's so much I can't control, so much I can't control. But that I actually like, I can let my longings be known, and I can bless them with that, that I can do. CJ, thank you so much, Karina, when you shared your visualization of the elder woman body. Oh, good. How she now lives in you, that I am very thankful. Oh, good. Thanks, CJ. I'm glad I mentioned that. Okay, this was exactly what I needed reminding of. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Good, good, good. Oh, yeah. Or just letting myself deeply, longing without. Yeah. Oh, for sure, Devaya, I say yes. I say yes to that. Yeah, I say yes to that. We're really not even on a journey. Even that, there's some, forward motion. It's an interesting thing, but I say yes to that, Devaya. Let's close. We'll bring a hand to our heart. I took myself off pin so you can kind of look at everyone, and blessings. Adriana, I'm so glad you're here. All right. Devaya and Candace and Marlene and Michelle and Anna and Adriana and CJ. So good to sit with you. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Same time, same channel. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.